Hello, my name is Ben Lovegrove, and in this video I'm going to highlight some of the main aspects of the coronavirus pandemic and what changes it has brought to our world. First, a quick review of the origins of the virus. While there is an abundance of conspiracy theories that suggest we could have predicted a global pandemic, there is actual scientific evidence for such a view. A microbiology review paper published in 2007 suggested that the combination of the consumption of horseshoe bats in southern China and the presence of SARS-CoV-like viruses in the area was a time bomb. One that sadly has now exploded. The spread of the virus. The coronavirus is obviously highly contagious, but at the current time it is not believed to be airborne. This means it spreads only via the droplets created when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets land on surfaces and are transferred to others who touch them. People then become infected with the virus when touching their faces or mouth. And of course that means that the first line of defense is to thoroughly and regularly wash your hands with soap or to use a hand sanitizer. Lockdown. There is a lot of confusion between the terms lockdown, self-isolation and self-quarantine right now. Lockdown is the state of emergency that governments implement within a country or geographical area. The idea is to limit the movements of people within that area, therefore slowing the spread of the virus. In practical terms, in the UK, this means people should not leave their homes unless absolutely necessary. That even means visiting friends or family members that live outside of their residence is not allowed. And it also means that wherever possible you should work from home and avoid being in public. The only valid exceptions to these rules include going outside for exercise once a day, to get essential food or medical supplies, or to minister to the vulnerable. All of which should be minimized as much as possible. And when engaged in such exceptions, you should also adhere to social distancing rules. That is, to stay at least 6 feet away from another person at any time. Self-isolation. Perhaps the most significant confusion is between self-isolation and self-quarantine. Self-isolation, currently 12 weeks is recommended, is designed for those that are already sick. That is, those that have underlying health conditions and are vulnerable to the worst effects of the virus. The idea being that by isolating themselves from the rest of society, they significantly reduce the risk of being infected with the coronavirus. On the other hand, self-quarantine is designed for those that have been exposed to the virus, with a view of minimizing the risk of passing it on to anyone else. Therefore, anyone experiencing COVID-19 symptoms is to stay at home for 7 days from their onset. Additionally, for those sharing a household with them, the isolation period needs to be 14 days from the onset of the illness. The reason being that this covers the incubation period, and it will ensure that even if they are asymptomatic, they will not spread the disease to others. Self-quarantine is particularly important in homes where persons vulnerable to the worst effects of COVID-19 live. In fact, in such situations the advice is to remove at-risk people from the home if possible. Alternatively, isolating the person that is sick and adhering to social distancing for the duration may be used if no other option is available. Self-quarantine and the impact on individuals. The impact of quarantine, isolation, and the broader restrictions on societal freedoms on individuals is likely to be significant. One major concern is that of mental health. The problem being that the combination of increased anxiety over COVID-19 and the reduction in social interaction and the positive experiences usually sought outside the home. Impact on economies. Concerning the impact of coronavirus on the economy, there is already a decline in demand for goods and services. And this is obviously attributed to the lockdown enforced in many locations. But of course, governments are well aware of this issue and are currently doing all they can to minimize this situation with bailouts, tax breaks, and other financial reliefs. However, in a world after Corona, the likelihood of a global recession remains high. The impact on global aviation. One of the industries hardest hit by the Corona pandemic is aviation. In fact, in a time where movement is restricted, those facilitating travel will necessarily suffer the most. The issues the aviation industry face are many and varied. In particular, the short-term crisis is that of empty aircraft, something that has cut off the airline's cash flow. A situation that has already claimed casualties among aviation employees. In the medium term, the issue is the possible reduction in available airports globally. A situation that could be caused if multiple airlines fail and the demand and availability for access to such locations is decreased. The long term is not free from issues here either. With such a sustained change in the ability to travel, consumers' needs, especially in the leisure sector, may be reassessed. Something that could, in a post-corona world, perhaps irrevocably change the viability of the aviation industry in the future. Unexpected benefits and advantages. Doom and gloom seem to be the order of the day when it comes to coronavirus. However, to paraphrase a very wise gentleman, when there is a disaster, we must look for the helpers. Many people are going above and beyond the call of duty during this crisis. For those working in medical institutions to those keeping schools open to cater for the most vulnerable in society. Numerous social media groups are springing up to offer help and support to those in their community as well. Such social benefits are not the only unexpected advantages to come out of this very dire situation either. As you may have seen in the media, fewer people and less activity reduces the strain on nature and natural resources. That's something that bodes well for a post-COVID-19 world. So where will we be by 2021? The worrying news is that the current coronavirus crisis is predicted by some to last until the spring of 2021. Experts suggest that the virus is unlikely to ever totally disappear. However, this doesn't mean that we will have to adapt to a world after the COVID-19 pandemic that is in perpetual lockdown. The reason for this is that as the global immunity increases, we can expect the severity and extent of the infection to lessen over time. But what will the long-term effects be on societies and economies? While it is difficult to predict the long-term effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, we can suggest some radical changes in several areas are likely. And one of these is likely to be a global recession. While another, as previously mentioned, is the impact it will have on the aviation industries, especially leisure travel. And still another is on the day-to-day lives of those who have experienced a whole new way of living and working from home for the first time. Such an experience that will shape the needs and expectations of individuals in the future, perhaps offering a new normal in a world after the coronavirus pandemic has subsided. Thanks for watching, but don't go yet as I have an important request. Please consider doing one or more of the following. If you'd like me to create a video for you to promote your products or services, go to redspan.com and use the contact form or just leave a comment below. Do the same if the sound of my voice is a fit for your voiceover needs. If you'd like to sponsor more videos like this, go to patreon.com/redspan. Your donation, however small, will help me to improve both the quality and the quantity of my videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with others. If you have any opinions, questions or feedback, please post a comment. Finally, subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified of new similar videos. Thank you for your kind attention.